I was sitting in the dark with my wife asleep beside me, staring at her phone, when I realized the life I'd been living for 10 years wasn't missing something. It was hiding someone. I'm 39 now. I've been married to my wife Claire for almost 10 years, together for 13. We live in a quiet suburb outside Fort Collins, Colorado, the kind of place where neighbors wave but don't really know each other, where weekends are Home Depot runs and barbecues if the weather's good. From the outside, our life looked solid, boring even, and I mean that in the best way. I work in logistics for a regional distribution company. Claire is a project manager for a healthcare tech firm. We both make decent money, not flashy but comfortable. We bought our house 6 years ago, 3 bedrooms, white siding, a maple tree out front that drops leaves everywhere in the fall. We hosted Thanksgiving some years. We argued about paint colors and lawn care and whether we really needed a new couch. We didn't have kids. That was always the quiet issue between us. I wanted them. I didn't grow up dreaming of fatherhood or anything, but somewhere in my early 30s, it started to feel like something was missing. Like there was a door in our life that stayed closed no matter how many times I reached for the handle. Every time I brought it up, Claire had a reason. Work stress, her anxiety, the economy, the state of the world. She wasn't wrong about any of it, but after a while, the reasons started to feel like walls. Eventually, I stopped asking. Not because I stopped wanting kids, but because I hated how the conversations made us look at each other, like I was asking for something unreasonable, like she was defending herself against an accusation I wasn't trying to make. So I told myself we were one of those couples who just didn't, and I tried to be okay with that. Last year, Claire's mother died suddenly from a stroke. No warning. One day she was sending us photos of her garden. The next day we were standing in a hospital hallway that smelled like disinfectant and bad coffee, listening to a doctor explain things in a careful, practiced voice. Grief changed Claire in small ways at first. She was quieter, more distracted. Some nights she'd just sit on the edge of the masjid, staring at nothing, like she was waiting for something to happen. Her mom left her some money, not millions, but enough that, if we used it wisely, we could knock out most of our mortgage and finally breathe a little easier. We talked about it multiple times. Agreed it made sense to put it toward the house. The money went into Claire's personal account first. She said that was just how the estate handled it. I didn't love that detail, but I didn't want to be the guy micromanaging inheritance logistics while she was still raw from losing her mom. Weeks passed, then months. Every time I gently asked about transferring the money, she said she was working on it, or waiting on paperwork, or needed to talk to the bank. I believed her, or maybe I wanted to. Then she started acting different. Not secretive in the stereotypical way. She didn't suddenly password protect everything or freak out if I walked into a room. It was more subtle than that. She was always half somewhere else. Her phone was always nearby, face down, on, silent. She took more calls in the garage, ran errands that took an hour when they used to take 20 minutes. She started going into the city more often for meetings, even on days she worked from home. I noticed. Of course I did, but I told myself I was projecting. That grief plus money plus stress could explain a lot. That not everything weird was a betrayal. Then one night, she fell asleep on the couch. It was late, past midnight. The TV was still on, volume low. Some rerun neither of us was really watching. Claire was curled up under a throw blanket, glasses still on, phone resting against her chest. I was about to pick it up and plug it in to charge it. That's it. That was my intention. The screen lit up when I touched it. A message preview popped up from a name I didn't recognize. Logan. Just a first name. No emoji, no heart, no last name. The message said, "Don't forget tomorrow's pickup is at 3, early dismissal." My first thought wasn't cheating, it was confusion. Pickup for what? I stood there longer than I should have. The room felt too quiet. I could hear the refrigerator hum in the kitchen. The faint tick of the wall clock. I unlocked the phone. I'm not proud of that. I don't think snooping automatically makes someone evil, but I'm not going to pretend it was some noble act either. I crossed a line. I opened the message thread. What I saw didn't look like an affair. No flirting, no coded language, no pictures, no inside jokes. It was logistics. Doctor appointment reminders, questions about school supplies, a forwarded email about a class field trip, something about a parent-teacher conference being rescheduled. There were photos, not selfies, not anything romantic, pictures of a kid, a boy, brown hair, crooked smile, missing one of his front teeth in an older photo, holding a soccer ball in another. My brain didn't connect the dots right away. It was like watching someone else's life through frosted glass. I scrolled up. The messages went back years. I sat down on the edge of the couch because my legs suddenly felt unreliable. The boy's age started to come into focus. Birthdays mentioned, 3rd grade, 4th, 5th. He was 9. 9 years old, the same age as my marriage. I didn't wake Claire up. I didn't confront her. I didn't even cry. I just sat there until my phone buzzed in my pocket with a low battery warning I'd been ignoring all night. The next morning, I made coffee like I always did. 2 mugs, hers with almond milk, mine black. Claire came into the kitchen in one of my old hoodies. She kissed my cheek like nothing was wrong. Asked if I'd slept okay. I watched her carefully, like she was a stranger wearing my wife's face. When she sat down, I said, as evenly as I could, "Who's Logan?" Her hand froze halfway to the mug. She didn't say what. She just stared at the table. I knew then that my life had split into a before and after. We didn't have one big conversation. We had many small, painful ones stretched across days, sometimes weeks. Because every time she told me a piece of it, it took me time to breathe again. When we first got married, Claire found out she was pregnant. She hadn't told me because she panicked. That was the word she used. Panicked. She said she was terrified she'd lose herself, that she'd resent me, that she'd look at a baby and feel trapped instead of happy. She said she'd seen her own mother struggle and didn't trust herself not to repeat it. She told her parents, not me. Her parents came up with a solution that, in their minds, fixed everything. Claire's younger brother, Mark, and his wife, Rachel, had been trying for a baby for years. Fertility treatments, failed rounds, heartbreak on top of heartbreak. They offered to take the baby, legally, quietly. On paper, Claire was never the mother. They told everyone she'd miscarried early, including me. I remember that time now with a clarity that makes my chest hurt. I remember holding her while she cried, remember feeling useless because I couldn't fix anything, remember grieving something I never even knew was real. The boy, Logan, grew up calling Rachel Mom, Mark Dad. Claire was Aunt Claire. She was always around. I just never questioned it. She was at birthdays, holidays, soccer games, school events. I thought she was just close to her family. I thought it was nice. The inheritance money? She admitted a large part of it went to Logan's private school tuition, a college savings account, therapy sessions after he started having anxiety issues. Mark and Rachel couldn't afford all of it on their own. Claire said she couldn't stand the idea of her son struggling because of money when she had the means to help. She said she never meant to lie to me for this long. She said she kept waiting for the right time to tell me, and then there were too many years stacked on top of it, and the truth felt too big to survive being spoken. She said she was afraid I'd leave, or worse, that I'd want to be involved. Logan doesn't know. As far as he's concerned, Claire is just his aunt who shows up a lot and cares maybe a little too much. Claire says telling him would shatter his sense of stability, that it would confuse him, hurt him, that it would make everything about adults and secrets instead of letting him be a kid. She told me that if I say anything, it would be selfish. I don't know how to explain what that word did to me when she said it. Selfish. I think about all the nights I lay awake wondering why she didn't want kids. All the times I swallowed my disappointment and told myself love meant compromise. All the money conversations where I felt like a jerk for asking questions. I was paying into a life I wasn't allowed to acknowledge. Some days I feel like I'm overreacting. Like the outcome, a loved, cared-for child, is what matters, not the path taken to get there. Other days, I feel like my entire marriage was a performance staged just well enough to keep me from asking the wrong questions. Claire wants counseling. She says she loves me, that she chose me, that none of this changes that. But I can't stop thinking about how many choices were made without me. How many years passed where I was operating on incomplete information and calling it trust. I haven't told anyone, not my friends, not my family. I haven't even said it out loud to my therapist yet because I don't trust my voice not to break. I don't know what leaving would make me. I don't know what staying would cost me. All I know is that there's a 9-year-old boy out there whose existence reshaped my entire life without ever knowing my name. And I don't know whether I'm allowed to be angry, or if doing so would make me the worst person in this story. Now I wake up every day knowing there's a truth sitting between us that never gets spoken, and I don't know if staying means accepting it or slowly disappearing inside it, because either way someone loses, and I can't tell anymore if it's her, me, or the life I thought we were building.